This conference will now be recorded.
Should we start the session now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, good morning, Tripti.
Yeah, good evening. Should we start the session now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, I have this notepad file with me. I hope you have received all the material now.
I have received the notepad files, but not the document notes.
I have shared it actually, so you can check with this analyst data.
Yeah, because notepad files have got very few things, but the major content which I should be following and I should be reading is there in your docs. So I will check it.
Yes, okay, fine. So,
But I just wanted to confirm you shared both the notepad
yes,
files as well as the documents, Word docs.
so
Uh,
last time we have
your
discussed
voice is
about,
cracking, I think.
is
Voices.
it?
Because I did not hear your answer about my question that you shared both
Yes,
the
I
notepads
did.
and the Word docs. Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
So last time we have discussed about, can you see this screen? Is it visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So we talked about how to sort the data, that is using order by clause. So the new clause we introduced was order by clause. And then we discussed that we can sort on multiple columns. You can sort on using aliases or using column positions, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm,
So now we know different clauses like select, from, where, and order by. These are the clauses that we now know. And we also know that the order by clause is the last one to get executed in a query, isn't it?
mm-hmm.
So now we will move on to the next topic. There are two small topics actually that we will finish first. That is called as distinct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this distinct is a keyword. Okay. Now, how is it used? That we will check. Suppose I'm typing a very simple query, and the query says select, uh, select job from employee, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
what will be the output of this query? If I execute this query,
Select job from
job,
employee. All types of jobs, everything in the job thing will come up.
every employee's job will be displayed, right?
Right. Mm.
So there are 14 employees, so 14 jobs will be displayed, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But my requirement is I'm not keen on knowing every person's job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is not my requirement. My requirement is to know how many types of jobs are available in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so instead of listing each and every employee's job, I would rather say select distinct job. Distinct is a keyword. Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
if I execute this query, the results are going to be different. Okay. So what it does is it groups the similar values and keeps one value for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So unique occurrence of each value is displayed.
Mm-hmm.
So now, so now I know that there are analyst, clerks, manager, presidents, and salesmen. These many are the available jobs in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. So this is called as distinct. Now, suppose along with job, I also want to display department. Then what will I do?
Select distinct job from employee. Select
along with,
distinct job, comma,
right,
department.
right. So if I say select distinct job, comma, department, right? And if I execute this query,
Mm-hmm.
can I say like select distinct like this?
Select distinct job, distinct department number from employee. Yeah, repeating distinct
Then
looks
it's
like it's
distinct
wrong.
job as well as distinct department, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Right? This doesn't work.
right.
Before execution only it has said that you have done wrong. This red
Mm-hmm.
red wavy line,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
distinct means one occurrence. So there cannot be multiple distinct keywords,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you are saying distinct means it is unique. So there cannot be distinct this as well as distinct that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my point?
Mm-hmm.
So distinct keyword can be used only once in a query, and that too it is used immediately after the select statement.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just a minute.
No problems. So unique occurrence, you said.
Right. So distinct unique occurrence of job, comma, department. Now if I execute this, sorry,
You can take a break, have water, something.
distinct job, sorry, job, comma, department. So now you can see when I execute job, comma, department, analyst, sorry, clerks, you can see repeating. Even departments you can see repeating. Then what kind of distinct it becomes, isn't it? But
Mm-hmm.
then this combination will not repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this becomes a pair now. And it's a distinct occurrence of this pair.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my point. So manager and 20 will not repeat. So job wise department that becomes a unique occurrence.
Job-wise department distinctly. So there will be
Hmm.
repetition
There will
of
be individual
jobs, but
repetition,
yeah, yeah.
but
There
then
will be
unit wise there will be no repetition.
yeah, the group, the
Yes,
the group of two will not be repeated. Okay.
yes. So
And if
that's
we
how
were
you
doing select distinct job, comma, distinct department number, then both they will be individually distinct and even the groups will be distinct then.
no, it won't work. It's a syntactically it will not work.
Okay.
It's a wrong query. So when you are using distinct, actually, there are two rules that you should follow. And the rules are, first of all, uh, distinct is written immediately after which statement? After select statement, right? This is point number one. And point number two is there can be only one occurrence of distinct. There can be only one occurrence of distinct in one query, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot write multiple distincts in a query. So this is what we have learned so far. Fine.
Mhm.
So this is how you can use a distinct word, keyword.
Mhm.
So I guess that was all about it. Then we will go to the next small topic, that
Mhm.
is, yeah, it's a feature of SQL Server actually. Oracle adapted this feature from 12c onwards, but SQL Server since like its earlier versions had this feature that
Top
is called
class.
top clause. Yes, and it is
Mhm.
very useful clause, uh,
Mhm.
wherein it is used to find out top n numbers, top n records, n number of records.
Mhm.
Okay, either top n number of records or top n percentage of records. I
Mhm.
can view using this top clause. So how do you use it? After select, instead of distinct, you should say top. Okay.
Mhm.
So select top number or percent and then the column name. And then
Mhm.
your where condition, etc., etc., that can be normally written. But then you just have to say select top. For example, I'll say select top 3 salary from employee. Okay, so after select and write top and how many records I want? I want top 3 records
Mhm.
and salary column. So I'll say this much and execute. So I'll get these many salaries. Okay, so suppose I'm saying select top 5. If you can see when I'm saying select top 5, this that gives me top 5 salaries even though they have repeating values. It will
Mhm.
keep it will keep them.
So all the instances of top salaries.
Yes. Top means top rows, top records.
Oh, top records. So they are not by value, not by magnitude.
Yes. So even if they have repeating values, see like record 3 and record 5, they have got repeating salaries. So it has
Mhm.
not clubbed it. Okay.
Mhm.
Top 5 means top 5 records it has given.
Top five, it should by index.
Yes. And now if I want them in the reverse order, I should say order by salary, sorry, order by salary DESC. So what I'll get here is highest top 5. Right now it is giving me top 5 means 1 to 5.
I'm not getting how is this getting processed. So order by salary descending. So what it did, pehle top five it will calculate, and then it will arrange those five in descending order, or it will first arrange the whole column in descending order and then select top five.
It will fetch and it will fetch it and then it will display it in descending order, but not all the records, only top 5 records in descending order.
Then it will arrange in the descending order. पांच के descending order में arrange किया. Output आ गया. Let me.
See, if
Yeah.
if I if I don't use this, it will give me all 14 records arranged in descending order,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I
Mm-hmm.
want to know top 5 earners in the company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want all 1 lakh employees,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I do is I use top 5.
Can you execute?
Now it will not give me all employees, it will give me only top 5 employees.
Jabke, if there was, can you remove the last line? Order by cell descending.
I'll comment it.
Okay. And if you execute only that portion, you
Now,
see, yeah.
now what it is doing? It is giving me first 5 records. So it's not the highest earning employees now. It's only 5 employees.
So it's only 5 employees by index, the way they were present in the column.
Yes.
Yes. And in the descending one, it first sorted the descending thing. So the highest earner was placed at the first index or zero level, first level, and the second highest at the second level. It was arranged in descending, and then it applied the top 5. So even uh, so select from order by. So is there a precedence order or a priority order that order by will get executed first,
No.
then select?
No. Order by never gets executed first.
But here you are seeing it is getting selected first. First, this list is getting arranged in the descending order. That is how the 5,000, the highest salary came up. And then only it selected the top 5.
Yeah, order by the job of order by is to either arrange them in ascending or descending order. And
Oh, yes.
the job of top is to extract the given number of rows.
Agreed, agreed. So here what it has done, take top 5, it had processed, it has checked throughout the column, selected the top things, and then arranged them in order by. But initially when we were not using order by, it is giving entirely different numbers.
Yes, when we don't use order by default it will give from the record 1 to the record last.
Yeah, order by will include the complete thing, and top 5 will take only those top 5.
Huh. Here it is just giving me record 1 to record 5. But if I want the highest earners,
Hmm.
then I am saying sal DAC.
Okay, okay, got it.
And if I want to have one occurrence only, then I can modify this query. Like I can say select
Distinct top 5
yes,
salary from employee order by descending.
yes. So in this case, what will happen?
No, there
See,
is no repetition.
1 to 50 is not getting repeated. No.
Hmm. Hmm.
And one more value is now available for you.
Hmm.
So instead of 12502 times, now 1300 has also have come.
Hmm.
Okay. So you can say distinct top. So then one occurrence of every value will come.
Hmm.
Now you can say top 5% and execute. That is also possible. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now what is this top 5%? Top
Top.
5% means from the given records, it displays 5%, 20%, whatever percentage you want. Accordingly,
Hmm.
it will decide the number of records. Fine.
Hmm.
So I'm out of, let's say right now I have 14 records. So out of 14, 5% of 14. So it has given me one record. So that is how you should go about it. So either you can say number percent or actual number. Hmm?
Hmm.
So that's the way you can work with uh, top rows.
Mhm.
So either distinct or top.
Mhm.
Now we will go to the next clause, that is hmm, grouping. Yes, it's a new topic that is called as grouping and aggregations.
Mhm.
Okay, now the thing is, do you remember we have studied different single row functions,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Mhm.
Now, the single row functions basically they work for every row fetched by the query, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, whereas aggregate functions they work only once on entire group of the data.
Mhm.
Okay, so let us study aggregate
So
functions.
you spoke about single row functions. There are no multi-row functions.
No, single row means the one that we have just talked about, isn't it? Uh, Length, then to the, like char index, etc. functions.
Mhm.
That's what I mean to say.
Okay.
Aggregate functions. Now, aggregate functions they get executed on entire group of the data, and they get executed only once. For
Mhm.
example, when I say max of sal, when I'm saying max of salary, this max function it gets executed how many times? It gets executed only once.
Yeah.
And for how many rows? There are 14 rows in my table. So
Mhm.
it will work on entire 14 rows and give me one result by one execution.
Mhm.
So by default, the entire table is considered as one group.
Mhm.
And on that group, the aggregate function will get executed, giving me one result.
Mhm.
Okay, so that is the default behavior of aggregate functions, right?
Mhm.
So now let us understand how to use these aggregate functions.
Mhm.
Okay, now please remember one important thing. I'm typing it here. All aggregate functions they ignore null value except for except for except for count star. Okay, like
Mhm.
this. So basically, aggregate functions do not count null values except for count star. So let us understand this. How is it possible? Now I'm going to say how to use it. Select max of sal, comma, let's say mean of sal from employee. So when I execute this query, what I'm going to get is maximum salary and minimum salary. So
Mhm.
each function it worked on entire uh, table and gave one result per group, and which is the default group, all table, all 14 rows for the time being, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Sorry. Now I can say average of salary, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Average of salary, which will give me divided by 14, it will find out, and this is the average salary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell me one thing. There is one function called as count.
Mm-hmm.
Count. When I'm saying count of ename, what it is going to give me?
It will count the in a way you can say all the employees whose names are there.
Right. How many employees are there, right?
How many employees are there? So if there is an employee whose there is no name for that, then it may not even count that thing.
Very good. So I'm getting 14 here.
Mm-hmm.
Count of ename, I'm getting 14.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I'm saying commission, please see the change. Here I'm getting 14 and here I'm getting 4.
Mm-hmm.
See, both columns are from employee table. So both time, like at both the places, it should have given me 14 and 14, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen. One count is 14 and another count is 4.
Mm-hmm.
Why? For the simple reason that I'm saying select commission from EMP. When I'm saying select commission from EMP, as you can see that there are only 4 not null values here. 1, 2, 3 and a 0, that is 4. The rest of the values are null, which are ignored. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
only not null values are counted here.
Mm-hmm.
So can you think and tell me how we can solve this problem?
What is the problem? I didn't get that.
The
So it
problem
is
is
counting it is counting nulls also in the count?
it will ignore nulls, isn't it? And that is why it
Yes.
is giving me answer 4. In fact,
Yes.
it should have given me answer. It should have given me answer 14, isn't it? So it is not counting all the rows.
But see, we wanted commission, count by commission. If we, yeah, is there a function which counts rows irrespective of the attribute name? So the column header is ename, uh, commission, salary, and we can say count salary, count ename, count commission.
Hmm.
And every time it observes a null, it would not include that in counting. So
Right.
it will exclude the null thing. That is the
Correct.
problem. So
Yes.
in fact, that would be my question. Is there a count method which counts not by attribute, but it counts the rows, tuples
There
or
is, yeah, there is a function which counts irrespective of the attribute, but
Mhm,
I I want to count on a particular column name
mhm,
irrespective of the
the null.
null. Yes.
No, okay. So you want to use a column header attribute, right? In SQL language in ER diagram, the column headers become the attributes. The attributes become the column headers.
Mm-hmm.
The attributes of an entity each becomes a column header.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, so in that situation, count. I do not know of that thing, but there
We
logically
have
looks like
studied
they
this.
can be.
We have studied one function for it.
Mm, count, count. No, I don't remember.
No, not count, but to take care of something null values.
Null, not null. Something was
Not null is a constraint.
okay. So I can't think of.
Okay. Mm, do you remember this function we have used? Is null.
Is null, not null. Yeah,
Is
they
null.
you.
Is null is a function.
Mm-hmm,
It finds a column, and if at all it finds a null value in that column, it replaces the null value with the given value. Okay. So as you
mm-hmm,
can see here, commission is null, so it has replaced it with 0. If at all it is 300, that is a not null value, it keeps it as it is.
mm-hmm,
But whenever it finds null, it replaces it with the given value.
mm-hmm,
Okay. So is null is the function which finds a null value and replaces it with the given value. So
mm-hmm.
what I can do here is when I'm saying count of commission, I'll write the same function again. I'll remove this. I don't want max, min, right, everything right. We'll just talk about count. Sorry.
So you are writing select count ename count commission
Count of
count count of is null in bracket commission comma 0.
right. So
So
now what it will do? Let us first of all see the end result. See,
count of is null commission comma
count
0.
of ename 14,
Mm-hmm,
count of commission 4. But when
mm-hmm.
I'm saying if I'm using is null along with count, again I'm getting 14. So
Right.
now
So
it is
is
able
mm-hmm,
to count all the rows irrespective of the null or not.
okay.
So what I'm trying to tell you is that nulls are to be handled very carefully. You
Mm-hmm,
cannot ignore null values. Every time when you are dealing with the data, you have to assume or you have to make a provision if at all there are null values in your data,
mm-hmm,
isn't it?
mm-hmm,
Now similarly there is something called as count star. This is the answer to your question. Irrespective of any column,
mm-hmm,
I just have to say count star.
mm-hmm,
So when I'm saying count star, there is no question of null values.
mm-hmm,
Okay, so it does not ignore null values, or it just counts everything, all the
mm-hmm,
rows I'm to say. So now count star will give you all 14. That is the last result. This one.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
This is called as count star. So count with is null and count star.
mm-hmm.
These are three different ways we have studied. Count with is null, and count with star.
Yeah, I would like to relate this to count function in Excel also. And there also sometimes we have spreadsheets which have uncountable number of rows actually.
Yes,
Right.
we have one function there also.
Count. So
Yes.
and there can be an indirect method that from the top cell A1, from cell A1, we can go to the last cell of column A by a shortcut like page down, control page down, or last row actually, last row of
We have a
that column.
function there. We have a function there.
Okay, so we will try to experiment this in Excel class.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, suppose I ask you, suppose I ask you to find out, suppose I ask you to find, first of all, average salary of all employees. That will be really easy. Okay. Then my next question would be, find average commission of all employees. Fine. So what would be the answer of the first question?
What is the question?
The
What
one that
find the average
the
salary of all employees? So it will be average bracket cell.
right,
Select average bracket cell.
right, right. So AVG or SAL from that's as simple as that. Okay. So this is the average salary of employee table. Now, how will I find out average commission?
Average commission. How will I find average commission? So it should be select average bracket commission. Or in this only, then we can do average cell, comma, average commission. We can have two, average salary and average commission together.
So this way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's not correct. Like I've told you that aggregate functions ignore null value except for
Mm-hmm,
count star,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
So here what it is doing, the average is uh, divided by and then total number of rows, right? That
mm-hmm,
is how the average is found out. So the
mm-hmm,
total number of rows, it will take only 4, which are not null rows.
mm-hmm,
Whereas it should divide it by 14. That is total number of rows.
mm-hmm,
But it cannot divide by 14 because it cannot count 14.
mm-hmm,
It can only count 4 because there are only 4 not null values.
mm-hmm.
So what should I do here?
By the way, this is a mathematical statistical question that if null values are taken into account, the average would not be the real average.
Yes,
And that's why you are saying that this is not the correct average.
yes,
So and now you asking that there should be a method which takes care of this. So every value which is null is not even counted to have that number thing. So total number of the sum of total observations upon the number of observations is the
yes.
average. So the denominator is the denominator this
Total
time does
number of
not,
records.
yeah, total number of records. So denominator does not take into account the null
Null
values.
one. Yes.
And so
So
that should
this is
be
the
okay.
correct.
This is the thing. Average is null, commission comma 0. Okay.
So this is the actual average. This is the correct average actually.
Okay.
That is 157.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are using such functions, that's what I'm saying. The column that you are using, if it has null values, it needs to be resolved like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it is. Now there is something. Let's say saying max of, or I'm saying let's say mean of sal. Let me just check. Mean of staff sal from employee anomaly something. Okay. Suppose I'm saying sum of sal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sum of sal is some 29025. But
Mm-hmm.
then I can use distinct
Mm-hmm.
in the aggregate functions also. Like for example, sum of distinct sal from employee. See, the two answers are different,
Mm-hmm.
right? This sum of sal, the first function, what it is doing, the sum of sal is it takes all the salaries and sums it up.
Mhm.
Okay. But the next function, it takes only distinct salary and then finds a sum of it.
Mhm.
We know now what is distinct. Each occurrence, unique occurrence of every value,
Yeah.
right? So you can use distinct inside the aggregate function. Similarly, if I say select count of department number, then what it is going to give me? It is going to give me 14. But if I say select count of distinct department number, then the answer will be different.
Hmm.
That is 10, 20, and 30. Only these departments are there in employee table.
Hmm. Mhm.
So that is what the distinct keyword is all about.
Right.
Okay. So distinct department number. That's how it goes. So that is how we use aggregate functions. Okay.
Hmm.
So let me just check whether I have taken one thing. Mm, yes. Okay. So that was about using aggregate functions. Now I'm going to introduce a new clause, and that is called as group by clause. Okay,
Mhm.
fine. So let us understand what is this group by clause all about. Okay, fine. I'm using count of department, or I may using it may be anything. Okay, it may be count of job, count of e-name, etc. Okay, let's say
Mhm.
count name. How many employees are there in my company? So
Mhm.
I'm using count of e-name.
Mhm.
So there are 14 employees in my company. It is
Mhm.
fine. Right now the table is small and there are only
Mhm.
14 employees. What if
Mhm.
the table is very huge? Okay,
Mhm.
that means I have 5 lakh employees in my company.
Mhm.
And every time when I say select count of ename from EMP, the aggregate function count will work on all 5 lakh records and then it will give me one result.
Mhm.
So that will be a very lengthy query. It has to group all the data and give me one result.
Mhm.
So do I every time want the count of all employees? No. I may want to have a count of some groups of the company. Fine. For example, I may want to know department wise count of employees.
Mhm.
So right now there is only one group and we were applying aggregate on that group. But now I want multiple groups.
Mhm.
So now the behavior of aggregate function is going to get changed. How is it going to get changed? Is first of all, groups will be formed and the aggregate function will get applied on each group.
Mhm.
For example, if there are 50 departments, first of all 50 department groups will be formed and aggregate function will get applied for each group, that is 50 times.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I'm saying I'm going to introduce a new clause, that is group by clause here.
Mhm.
So from employee, group by what? Column name. That is you want to group on which column.
Mhm.
Okay. So there are 3, 5 and 6. Now I don't know what is this 3, 5 and 6. I need to display it, isn't it? So what
Mm-hmm.
I'll do is I will display it in the select statement, right? Department
Select
number,
department number, county name.
group by department number. So now we have executed this. So 10 has 3 employees, 25 and 30 has 6 employees in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So these many employees are there. So now the query, what is this query all about? The query is displaying number of employees per department,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? So this is what it is doing is it is grouping on department number and applying the aggregate function for that particular group.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a rule that you must remember. Okay, it is very important that I'll just first write the rule here, and the rule is if a non-aggregate function appears with aggregate function, then include the non-aggregate non-aggregate column in group by. Very simple. If at all a non-aggregate column appears with aggregate function, then include the non-aggregate column in group by. Okay, I'm sure this is quite confusing, but if you understand it through a query, this is very straightforward. Now, which is the aggregate function in this query? Can you please tell me?
This should be county name count from. I mean, count could be a aggregate function.
It is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
count is the aggregate function. Now, along with count, which is the non-aggregate column here, the non-aggregate column is department number, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I've, I'm not making any aggregations on it. So, if at all there is a non-aggregate column along with aggregate function, then what should we do? Then we should include the non-aggregate column into group by clause. That is what is the requirement, or that is the syntax.
Mm-hmm.
Is now along with department, suppose I also want to display job, then what I should do?
Job means comma.
Right. So I'll say
Yes.
comma job, isn't it? So now it should display department, job as well as count of email, isn't it? So let us execute this query. It will throw an error, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the error is what? See, it is invalid in the select list because it is contained either an aggregate function or the group by clause, means it is expecting that there is a non-aggregate column which is not present in the group by clause.
Mm-hmm.
Department number is a non-aggregate column and we included it in the group by clause. Everything was working fine. But you had one more non-aggregate column which was not included in group by clause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I need to do is I also need to include job in the group by clause, right? And now if I execute this query, this is going
So
to
it's
work.
it's it's only for with in group by we include only the non-aggregate. right? If the
because
department number and job are non-aggregate, I
these
don't know
are the
then.
columns on which you are grouping basically.
Right.
So
And
now again the same thing, you will see that there are repeating jobs, you will see that there are repeating departments, but you will not see repeating combination.
okay, the moment we say group by in both, uh, so department number job together, no combination will be repeated.
In short, this query is now department wise, job wise, number of employees.
Right.
So in department 30, there is one clerk. In department 30, there are four salesmen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's how it goes. So the groups that you have created in select statements, they must be present in the group by clause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is what a group by is. I can I can have many of them like this. I can have, for example, max of sal, mean of sal, like that. Okay, so this will keep on going. I can have multiple aggregate functions. Even
Mm-hmm.
I can have additions or deletion, arithmetics with aggregate functions. For example, I can have like this, max of sal minus mean of sal,
Mm-hmm.
this entire thing.
How will this appear?
Like this. So max sal is 5,000, mean sal is 800. See, now you will be able to notice the difference. This is max sal, this is mean sal, and this is max sal minus mean sal.
Mm-hmm.
So I can also perform arithmetics like this with aggregate functions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. So
Specifically asking, can we calculate standard deviation here?
I have not used standard deviation actually.
Variance?
Statistical functions I'm not very comfortable with.
In fact, I'm not even doing this. I'm just asking, is SQL server
Yes,
here
there are
capable
many.
of?
Yes, there are many
Okay,
functions you can
okay,
check.
okay. And if you can share some information about these, even a small link on Microsoft portal or some blog where they're using advanced statistical functions, standard deviation, p-value, variance, kind of
Hmm.
things,
Hmm.
uh, using in SQL on data, it will be
Hmm.
helpful.
Okay,
Thank you.
fine. Now let coming back to the aggregate group by clause.
Mhm.
Suppose I'm having max of sal. Okay. Let's keep it very simple. Department wise maximum sal. Okay, fine. Fine. So department 20's maximum salary, 30's and 20's, 10's. So each department's maximum salary it is displaying, right? That is so far so good. I mean, the values of maximum salaries per department it is showing me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right now there are only three departments, so everything is okay. But imagine that there are 100 departments in my company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do I want the results of all the 100 departments every time? Not necessary, isn't it? And if I
Mm-hmm.
keep on aggregating on each department, the response time of the query will also be more,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? That means every time it has to group on entire data. Every time it has to take all the values, take the aggregates of each department and give it to you. Unnecessarily, why to group on all the departments if not needed? So I can filter the information of groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, in this case, I want to see the maximum salary department wise, but I want to see only those departments whose maximum salary is more than 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So my requirement is like this: display department wise maximum salary, but display display only those departments whose maximum salary is more than 3,000, right? So I'm not interested in other departments, only those departments whose maximum salary is more than 3,000. So how will
Mm-hmm.
I put this condition?
Mm. So maximum, select max, and I think double parenthesis.
This is anyway going to remain the same, right?
Select department number, max cell. So once you have got the max number, then you can.
I want to check a condition about the maximum salary.
Mm-hmm.
So can I say like this, where max of sal greater than 3,000,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
This will never work because aggregate functions cannot be used in where clause.
Where
Single
max. Okay.
single row functions can be used in where clause, but aggregate functions are not allowed in the where clause.
Mm-hmm.
See, it is for the simple reason that where has already done its job. I think in the last session I have told you the sequence of execution of different clauses.
Mm-hmm.
The from clause gets executed first, then comes the where clause. Okay. After the where clause, then the other clauses are getting executed.
Mm-hmm.
First, groups will be formed, and on these groups, then aggregate functions will get applied.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, how can I eat the food before it is cooked?
Right.
So, the same way, the where has already done its job. So, at that time, aggregates are yet to come. So you cannot use them in the where clause. Basically, where is meant for detailed data and aggregates is meant for summarized data. So details along with aggregates cannot combine. So you cannot put a condition which has aggregate function in it. So this is wrong. So still the problem is not solved, isn't it? I want to filter the output of group by clause, right? This output I want to filter. So what I want to do is I should use a new clause called as having. Having max of sal greater than which value? 3000.
So where and having, there is a clear-cut distinction where to use both.
Exactly. Now, how this person works, having. Now, first of all, from where will give you number of rows, then on those rows, groups will be applied first. So it will create 10, 20, 30, three groups. On each group, the aggregate function will get applied. Okay, that is max cell on 10, max cell on 20, max cell on 30. Okay, so groups will be applied, aggregates will be applied on those groups. But do you want to display all groups or not? Who will decide that? The having function, having clause. The having clause will put a condition on the output of group by clause. Okay, so the having is already everywhere. Every time you use having, there has to be a group by for it. So having comes along with a group by clause.
Always.
Yes, because that is what its job is. It has to work on group by clause. It puts a condition on the output of group by clause. Okay. I can write like this also. Still output will remain the okay. So this editor does not allow. Other editor allows. Fine. Is it okay? So first groups will be applied, then having will put a condition on those groups. So now only department 10 is earning maximum salary more than 3000. Okay. So now what all things we have learned? Select, from, where, group by, and having. And after all this, we have order by clause.
Now, would we need order by?
Right now we don't need because there's only one row.
Select with, but if there were many, we could have ordered the output.
Then we would have said order by something, right? So this way we can use group by and having. Okay. Mm, yeah. So that's all about group by and having clause. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to tell you was that sum function and average function. Sum and average, they work on only numerical data. Okay, so it's a different category of aggregate function, whereas min, max, count, etc. they work on multiple data types. Okay, so only these two they work on number data types, whereas the other aggregate functions, they work on multiple data types, not only numbers but others also. Fine. For example, if I ask you to find out the most recently joined employee in the company,
Mm-hmm.
so how will you find out the most recently joined employee? You know that there is a column called as hire date.
Yes.
Let's say select ename, comma, hire date from employee. It's a normal query, right? So this is the hire date of that person. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to know who is the most recently joined employee in the company.
Mm-hmm.
So
Select
what
name, comma, hire date from employee, where and having. No, where nahi aayega, having. What was the thing in the last thing? What two were things were together? Where we did not
again
use
they say
select maximum hire date.
max of hire date.
So hire date भी max हो सकती है. I mean that is like
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. Sum and average, they work on only number data type,
mm-hmm,
whereas other functions, they work on number, date, character, everything.
mm-hmm,
Okay, so this becomes the most recently joined. Similarly, if I use mean of hire date, that becomes the oldest employee,
mm-hmm,
right? Or suppose I'm saying count of ename. When I'm saying count of ename, that means I'm using it on character data type, right? So,
mm-hmm,
uh, other than sum and average, the remaining aggregates, they work on multiple data types.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was one point. Fine. Now we are going to start with something important that is called as joins. Okay, so let us start with this new topic. Now, what is this join basically? It's a technique of getting data from multiple tables. That is what called
Mm-hmm.
as join. Okay. Now you must be knowing the concept of normalization.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're fetching data from a table, basically you can fetch a data from the server by three different ways. That is selection, projection, and join. So this is the
Mm-hmm.
technique of join that we are now studying. Now, um, when if you have observed, there are multiple normal forms, okay, like first NF, second NF, third NF, etc., etc. So, as and when we go to the next normal form, the data gets splitted into multiple tables,
Yep.
right? The more and
Yeah.
more you go forward, the smaller the number of table keeps on increasing
The
with
number of
every
table
move.
gets increased. Yeah.
So, uh, now that the same data is stored in multiple tables, what if I want a combined report which has got uh, one column each from all seven tables?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that case, is it possible that I should create one more table?
You
Are you
can
getting
one more table. No, so the idea of creating one more table is only if it adds to uh, it decreases redundancy.
See, my point is, suppose After the effect of normalization is I have employee table and I have department table. Okay. Now there are many what I can say columns in between. Here there is employee number and then there is name, etc., and salary,
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Okay. And then there is one more column here called as D, DNO. Now
Mm-hmm.
there is something called as uh, what DID,
Mm-hmm.
department ID. Then there is department name, and then there is location, etc. Okay, so these are all the this this is employee table, and my this becomes my department table. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now uh, tell me that suppose somebody comes to me, my manager comes to me and says, Trupti, I want a report of employee names and their respective department names. Okay. Now, as the effect of normalization, I have got these two different tables. This table is different, okay, and this table is different, right? Now, ename and dname both are present in two different tables.
Yeah.
So, to have a report of ename side by side dname, should I combine ename and dname in one more table and then generate a query?
Not getting.
Should I
Why do?
create a third should I create a third table which has got ename and dname and then say select star from that table name?
No, not getting. Can you do that in?
Yes. Should I create one more table here? Should I create one more table here which has got ename and dname and then I say select star from this table name? Is it correct?
I mean, I do not think there would be thing any employee can have salary. Same employee can belong to same department number, and the so actually you do not need to take out dname. Dname you are taking from department. DID, dname, and location. So dname is not there in that table. Dname is here in this table. So why do you? Okay, so now in this combination, you take ename from first table, you take dname from second table, and you create a third table here. In that
Mm-hmm.
situation, and that ways, what what are you doing actually? You are bringing some information which is not present in either of these tables actually.
Mm-hmm.
Ename map to the dname. So and I think that is the concept of joins or normalization. Or
My question was, should I create one more table which has these two columns in that table and then write a query?
and then write a query. Even if this table was not present, I do not have a very confident answer to this, but
That's
rather I
okay.
have a confident question to this, that if you create this table, that would be the third table in the DB, and would querying in a state where this table was not present and querying in a state where this third table is present, would there be a difference in outputs?
Difference in outputs? No. It will be same output. But then I'm not a good database designer in that case. See, the purpose of normalization is to reduce redundancy, isn't it? And
Purpose of normalization reduces redundancy, and does
if I create
normalization.
one more table, if I create one more table here,
Mhm.
then ename from this table, dename from this table. Creating third table, that means I am causing redundancy, which may lead to inconsistency.
You are causing redundancy, or you are decreasing redundancy?
No, if I create one more table here just
Mhm.
to print ename and dename, then it will be a redundant data, isn't it?
Mm.
Email is present, ename is present in employee table, dename is present in department table, and it is also present in third table.
नहीं, but third table में ename in none of the tables ename and dename are present together, and redundancy is,
That's okay.
according to my perception, it may be wrong.
No,
Please correct me. Redundancy is considered or measured or is defined with respect to the tuples. So a tuple containing ename and dename is not at all present in any of the table.
there is a person ABC here, and there is a department 10 with department name accounting, right? Now I have been asked to generate a report which has ename and dename in it. Okay, employees, a name of the employees and name of their departments.
Yes.
Now, should I create ABC and accounting? This is called as a repetition. If I create one more table just for one report, that is a redundant data.
Just for
Suppose
one
tomorrow,
report, if you create a table, uh, that is there a way that you can find out by is there any other way by which you
that,
can present this data?
that is joins. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot keep on creating different tables for every report, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of creating multiple tables, I use a technique called as join.
Mm-hmm.
And with the help of join, I can combine or I can present data from multiple tables in one output.
Agreed. Agreed.
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
So let us now see how we can use joins. Fine. Now, when I'm talking about joins, there are different types of joins, categories of joins actually. That is called as uh, inner join, outer join, and third one is cross join, or it is also called as Cartesian product. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The inner join is also called as equi-join, which checks for the equality of the values.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Now, actually, we are not going to talk about non-ANSI join. We are going to talk about only ANSI joins. Non-ANSI and ANSI means what? ANSI is a standard basically.
Mm-hmm.
Means it's a standard of writing queries. Queries written in ANSI standard, they can get they give the proper or the same output irrespective of the database. That means if I'm using this syntax in SQL Server, the same query, if I copy paste in Oracle, this will also work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they standard the format, its syntax.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. So let us talk about inner join first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, just to check, let me No. When I'm talking about inner join, there has to be some comparison that I need to do between two tables, isn't it? So the common column that I'll be comparing is the department number. Okay, that is department number of employee table and department number of departments table, right? So, can you tell me, is it necessary that the column names of both the departments must be same in both tables?
No, the column
So,
headers must be the same value in 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 by definition, by meaning, they should be the same value, but their names, the column name can be different.
say deliberately I have written here DNO and DID. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is a primary key column. It's a parent table, and it's a
Which one
primary
is it?
key column. Department. Department is a
Mm-hmm.
parent. So DID is the primary key, and DNO in employee table is the foreign key. Okay, so the column names can differ, but what should be same? Their data types should be same,
Mm-hmm.
because ultimately that is what we are comparing, isn't it?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So now we are going to talk about equijoins. Equijoins means what? Inner join. Okay. Now, inner join, how it works is it the record from one table, it finds a match in the other table. Whenever there is a match, it extracts that record. As simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That means suppose there will be multiple values here for department. Let's say 10, sorry, uh, 20, 10 again,
Mm-hmm.
30, 20, 20, like that. Okay. And here there will be 10, 20, and 30, like that. Fine. So what it is
Mm-hmm.
going to do, let's say, suppose this is 20. I want to look for the e-name. This is ABC, this is D, G. Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
I want to display ABC. So the output, how should be the output? Can you tell me? Suppose this is accounting, this is marketing, and this is, let's say, HR. Okay. So the output will be ABC is working in 10, isn't it? That
Mm-hmm.
means ABC will be ACC. Then D is also working in 10. So it will be ACC. Then G is working in which department? G is working in 30. And what is 30 here? 30 is HR, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the output will be like this: name of the employee along with name of the department. So how was it found that whenever there is 20, it goes to, it takes the e-name, it finds the department number. Is it matching? No. Is it matching? Yes. Whenever there is 20 matches, then it extracts the D name out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in short, what it is doing, it is checking for equality. DNO from this number equal to DID from this number. Whenever equality matches, it extracts the D name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is called as inner join. So, now we will write a query. How to write a query for inner join. Now, see, the way we think, the way we write, it's very simple. What I want to display, I want to display ename and dname. So I will say select ename and dname. Ename is coming from which table?
Your name is coming from the first table, top left. What is
That
it?
is which
Yeah.
table?
I'm sorry.
That is which table?
I'm forgetting the name. So
Employee
that's
table.
employee table. Yeah,
And DNAME is coming from which table? It is coming from departments table.
departments table. Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to just have a look at the data, I'll say select star from DPT. DPT is the table name, and these are the contents of that table. That is department number, DNAME, and location. Okay. So accounting, research, sales, and operations. These are the records of that table.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully at 10 we have to take a quick break and then slip into Excel.
Right now,
Mm.
we will finish this one.
Mm-hmm.
Select ename, comma, dname from employee. Now, till now we had only one table name in a query. Now we are going to have two tables in a query, in one single query. Okay, how do you do that? From EMP, inner join, which table? Inner join department. Okay, so from one table, join another table. Okay, and then there has to be some condition on which you are joining. And what is that condition? That is employees dot department number should be same as departments dot department number, right?
Okay.
So as you can see here, Smith is working in research, and
Mm-hmm.
research is what? I guess it is 10,
Mm-hmm.
department 10.
So
Okay.
this is inner join.
Yes, this is inner join. That is equi-join. Okay. So
Okay.
let me tell you the syntax. Column names coming from multiple tables. From table names, inner join department, that is the other table, and the condition, on condition, that is employees dot department number is equal to departments dot department number. So now what we have done is ename is coming from employee table and dname is coming from departments table. So with the help of inner join, we combined and found one output. So now Smith is working in sales. Oh, sorry, research. Okay. What if I want to display the
Actually,
department number also?
no, we cannot complete this because Swati is asking me when is the Excel class. So I think
It is at 8, right?
yeah, we will start from here itself. This is the inner join. That's what I was asking, right?
Yeah, but let me just complete the syntax.
Okay.
Inner join. If I want to display the department number along with it, it says column ambiguously defined. It will not correct the query because department number is present in both the tables.
Mm-hmm.
So it is getting confused as which table it should refer to. So what
Yeah.
I should do, I should say either employee or department. So I should say department number dot, sorry, department table name dot column name,
Mm-hmm.
dpt dot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I should give aliases. Do you remember aliases? We give aliases to the columns.
Yes.
Similarly, here we give aliases to the tables. For example, employee EMP table name space alias name. Similarly, DPT D. And now instead of using huge table names, I can use alias names like E dot DPT is equal to D dot DPT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we use alias to the tables. Getting my point? And then we
Yeah.
can use alias names everywhere. Now, just to tell you that there are n minus 1 joins that we use here.
Mm-hmm.
That means if there are two tables, one join. If there are three tables, two joins. That is
Yeah.
n minus 1 joins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is inner joins.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yeah. So we'll meet after 10 minutes.
We'll start at 8 o'clock.
So you're 8. That would be little late for me because uh, that's how it turns out. 1 hour and it gets around 11, and even beyond 11. I have work tomorrow. Like I have to get up at 3:30. That is the challenge actually in the morning.
So,
So
fine.
yeah, so we start in maybe 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.